what's up everybody? So we are going to be continuing the ST engine build, and I went ahead and got a SuperTech MLS head gasket here. So got that from Speed Performance. Took a while to get here just because of shipping problems, but I got it. I did also get the friction washers for both the cams. So here's the two for the cams, and then these are the rest of the washers I'm going to need for the crankshaft. For timing purposes, but I will not be able to time this until I get the oil pan baffle kit. I went ahead and I cleaned it, don't mind the bolts in it, but I went and cleaned it and made sure the surface was all ready to go. But I need to get the baffle pan, or the baffle kit for that oil pan, because I'm going to be doing a balance shaft elite, and it comes with a plug as well to plug the oil feed for the balance shaft elite. So yeah, I can't time it yet, so I'm going to need to get that, and secure the oil pan on, make sure it's flush with the block, clean off all the residue on the front of the block, and then from that point, the timing chain itself will be installed, and also the oil pump chain will be installed. So that'll be a separate video. Right now we're going to focus on actually getting the head secured to the block, and yeah, that'll be our adventure today. So I went ahead and took the cams off of the head, and also took the buckets off of the valves themselves. And just so you know, if you're ever doing this, make sure to label all of the buckets for their corresponding locations, because that's pretty much your valve lash. Traditionally with you know, rocker assemblies, with those are pretty common with most cars. You can actually adjust the lashing on for the adjustment for the valves, but with these they're set by the buckets themselves. So I took them out, I gave them a nice clean, and then when I put them back in, I'm going to put a layer of oil on the outside, that way they're all lubricated when they're in, and put oil on the contact point where it's going to be hitting the valve itself. So right now I guess we can just work on getting the head on, because all that will be later. So I'm gonna get the gasket on, and then we're gonna see about putting that head on. So before I put the gasket on, I made sure to clean the deck surface, and also the surface of the head needs to be cleaned. So I'm gonna work on getting this clean, because it was sitting on this foam on the block. So I'm gonna clean this again, and then before we put it on, just double check that everything is in place, the gasket is in a good position, so that the head won't, or the pistons won't even interfere with the bores of the gasket. Shouldn't, but I just want it to be as centered as possible when we put the head on, so that we have less possibility for leaks. So I'm gonna clean this, and then we can just set it on the block and then start fastening. So I'm going to go ahead and put cylinder 1 and 4 at top dead center, because that is going to be where we're going to need it for timing. So I'm going to go ahead and just keep it right there, so we don't have to really touch it when we get to the timing portion, which I'll get into when we actually do that. So at this point, we are ready to go. I'm just going to double check all of our holes here, make sure everything's lining up. I was gonna help you, but got it. Cool. So I went ahead and used the ARP lubrication here to coat the washers in the lubricant, and then I tossed a little bit of lube. I left one without lube so I can show you, but just toss a little bit of it into the threads, and that'll be enough for our application. So now we just take the washers and then install them into the head. You don't want to use too much of this lube, because you don't want to end up with this ARP lube on the bottom of your oil pan, or managing to get to the bearings, because that'll potentially cause spun bearings. So yeah, just work on getting all this in here and go from there. So I am installing the last nut in here. So I'm gonna just get all these hand tight, or I'll just run in by hand. And there's gonna be a little excess lube on the top of it. So you kind of just wanna get in there and wipe as much. See, look right here. You wanna wipe as much as that of that lube off the top of the nuts before you go ahead and install everything, just because you don't want that floating around. Like I said, you don't want it floating around after you secure everything. You're getting in places it shouldn't be. So I'm going to clean all this off, and then we can get into torquing it down. Alrighty, so we got our nice little snap-on digital torque wrench, and for these we went with the bigger one because we're going to be going up to 90 foot-pounds. So we're going to do stages just like the mains and the rods. So we're going to go 30, 60, 90 in those stages. And the sequence that we're going to be following to torque the head is going to be this one right here first. So you go this one, 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 and then this one. Kind of like a spiral, if you can kind of imagine that. So I'm going to torque all these down. We're going to start with 30, which we're at 30 right now. Good Lord. Alright, so now that we got the head clamped down, that 90 foot-pounds really took a toll on me, and it's really hot right now. I mean, it is nighttime, but it's summer just started, so I'm sweating. But now we're gonna move on to the buckets here. So for me, it's, you know, flipped right now. Well, not really, because this is still cylinder 4. But if you look at this bucket here, it says intake. That for the eye, that's intake. Cylinder 4, and then 2, meaning it's the second valve from the front. So this is going to be 1 and 2. So if you're starting from over here, it would be, I'll just grab it right now.
1 1 1 2 2 1 2 2.
Yeah. So just like I said, you have to keep these in order because this is your lashing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take some oil and coat the outside of it, of the bucket here, and then get a little bit on that contact surface where it's going to hit the valve. And since this is number 2 for 4, slide it in like that. And this is number 1 for 4, so we'll just do the same thing for the rest of them, including, and then the exhaust has E on it, and then 1 and 2 for each cylinder. So I'm just going to get all these in.
He's not fit.
And then we will get back with you guys. So I went ahead and used the same assembly lube that we used for the bottom end on all of the journals for the cams and the buckets as well. So now we are ready for the cams to go in. We'll grab the exhaust cam here. My bud's back. That bud can suck it. I think it just died. Alright, so what you were looking for here is to get the cylinder 1 so that the lobes are facing up, because like I said before, 1 and 4 are at top dead center, so you figure the valves are going to be up. You just have to pay attention to which lobes are, you know, facing down, facing up type of thing. These ones aren't going to be depressing on the valves yet, but these ones right here are about to start. So this one will probably be the one we clamp down by hand first, just so we can get the spring tension from the springs out of the cam. That way it's not, you know, bending it in any weird form. That way it prevents anything from happening, like snapping a cam. I've heard it happen before. So just focus on getting at least cylinder 1 to the point where it is at, what's going on here? Oh, dummy me, putting it in backwards. But get it to the point where it'll be at top dead, which is going to be right there. And that's going to be pretty much lined up for timing too. But this little end piece does have to come off the cam to time it. So yeah, I'm going to get all the caps lubed up because I haven't done that yet. Get them lubed up, and then we're only going to be installing one of the end pieces here, and it's going to be for this side. We're only going to be installing that because we need this one off to time it. So, and this one doesn't even hold in the camshaft period. So for this one, there's these little grooves here. You're going to want to follow these grooves. I'll put a diagram up right now of where you need to put the silicone, but this one does need to have silicone on it, and so does the other one. But we'll install the other one when after we time it. So I'm going to lube these up, and all these caps, they do have an orientation on them. So this is an I for intake side, and then 2. It says 2 because the first cap, this one right here, this big one, is considered number 1. So it would be, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. And then the highest cap size or cap orientation mark goes up to 5. And then the last one, number 6, is going to be this one. So yeah, I'm going to lube those up with the same assembly lube, and then we can get chugging on it. Alright, so I have the diagram right here where the silicone needs to go. It's not actually in the groove because I believe those are oil channels, but you're going to go just past the out, like right where the hole for the bolt is. That's where you're going to want to put the silicone, and then a small bead going towards the outside on the front. So I'm gonna work on doing this, and then catch up with you guys after. Alright. Just cut it. Because I'm going to struggle with this. Cut it. So I got the silicone on the rear cap here. It's all on the right specified locations. Now, like I said earlier, you're going to want to focus on all of the lobes that are facing down first, just by hand. Just get them to the point where the caps are touching the top of the head. Yeah, so you're going to want to start with all of the lobes that are facing down, just to ensure that you're compressing the spring first before you're clamping any of the other ones down to prevent any weird bending in the cams. So I'm just going to go through all these, get them all hand tight, and then the torque spec for these, let me just double check here.
They just saw your password full.
The torque spec is right there, 7 Newton meters or 62 inch-pounds, and that's the first step. And then the second stage right here, you can see right, and it says to tighten to 16 Newton meters and or 142 inch-pounds. So that you do stages. And then here is the diagram for, we'll put it up right now. That's the diagram for all the orders. You pretty much just start from 1 and then go out progressively for each cam. So I'm going to get all these hand tight with the ratchet, and then we'll work on torquing them. So just for clarification again, the first stage of tightening for these in the sequence is...
I'm on intake side, by the way.
Yeah, but just for these, okay, I'm going to point out the caps that we're going to be tightening for now. This one, 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 and this one. We're not tightening this one yet because we're going to need it off for timing. But just these, including this one over here, not this cap, but just this set here. that is going to be, the first stage is going to be 62 inch-pounds, which is 7 Newton meters, and the second stage is going to be 142 inch-pounds, which is 16 Newton meters. So you just do in stages just like we would with the mains or the rods or the head. Same concept. And then for these three here, there's 1, 2, 3. Those three are going to be torqued down to 89 inch-pounds or 10 Newton meters. So there is a difference from this to this. Honestly, it probably doesn't make a difference, but we did go by the specifications on the torque for those. Now, like I said, this one is not going to be tightened. This one will need silicone as well. Same with this one. But we're going to be needing to remove this to actually time the engine. So I left these loose so that we would know that we're going to need to remove that one. And yeah, I mean, we're pretty, yeah, that's everything for installing the head really until we can time it. So
we're running out of battery.
Well, in that case, thank you very much. I hope this video was, you know, educational for anybody who would be into doing this themselves. Just like the rest of the videos, we just hope that you enjoy them and you enjoy watching me, you know, assemble this thing for the first time. So thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe and make sure to drop a like, just because it helps us with the whole algorithm of YouTube. And if you're interested, you can check out our website. We have you know, hats, shirts, stickers that you can buy, and actually we're going to be posting our banners on there as well. So if you're interested in getting a Valley Crew banner, those will be available. And follow us on Instagram. So
I'm gonna go show them the banner.
oh yeah.
You were saying?
But yeah, I was saying, those banners will be available on the store very soon. But if you like, you can follow us on Instagram too, just to keep up with all the shenanigans we do on the side, besides the filming, and just keep up with all the builds and what's going on with us. But yeah, thank you very much, and we will see you guys in the next video.